Let's go to the phone lines. Welcome in Brett Goode, part of the Henderson Phillips Employer Solutions team, former Packer, former Razorback. We're talking A&M today with Brett. Brett, appreciate the time as always, buddy. Quarterback is going to be the issue down there in College Station. Kellen Mond's been that for the past 3 years. Jimbo's got to go in another direction after his best season down there. What's that going to look like for Jimbo Fisher and the offense in 2021?
Well, I think for the first part of the season, it's going to look really different because, like you said, Kellen Mond, we've seen it. He's the all-time leader in total offense for A&M, which is a big feat because he passed Johnny Manziel. We all saw what he did back in school. But they've got a four-star guy that, he has limited experience, but everybody's projecting him to be the starter. He had his first touchdown pass against South Carolina last year, and Haynes King. He was a high school state champion. His dad, he has a pedigree for football. So there's a lot of people that are loving him, saying he's kind of taking over the leadership role and kind of leading the team right now, and he's doing a good job.
When you look at Texas A&M, Brett, and just kind of what they are, they had an opportunity this year. Some thought they would go to a national championship or the college football playoff, not national championship, and get that matchup. Is Jimbo going to be able to take that next step in College Station? They've got the trophy without a nameplate for his supposed future national championship. Do you have a sense that he is going to be able to take Texas A&M where he took Florida State back in 2013?
I think everything certainly seems to be headed that way. We'll see what they can do this year. They've got a lot of adjustments that they're going to have to do at quarterback and on the offensive line and replacing a few defensive starters, but his recruiting class is phenomenal. And he's kind of considered like a quarterback guru where he's able to do things. And we know he got James Winston to be, perform at a high level. So he's able to get these guys to play and being able to recruit there at A&M. He's got a lot of good recruits. So he's on the right track to, compete for a national title.
I think the pressure's even more now that Texas is, trying to revitalize their program, going a different direction. You got close. You were kind of the last team or the next team that would have got into the college football playoff. Alabama just had, another historic year, maybe their best team ever. But you feel like you're right on that cusp there. But I think the pressure within that state gets ramped up just a little bit more because of what happens or what is happening in Austin.
And that's true. Texas is tired of losing. They are putting money into their program, and they're tired of the SEC. The Big 12 is really tired of watching all these teams go through and kind of cherry pick some of the good athletes out of Texas. And he's doing a good job of doing it. So I think he's going to try to continue to do that because he's getting a high salary, and that's what he's paid to do. But it'll be interesting as we move forward to see if he can continue that run as Texas improves their football program.
Looking at some of the notes here on A&M, they've got 4 of their 5 starters on the offensive line that have to be replaced. That's always a challenge for any offensive coordinator. Brad, have you dug into that? Who are some candidates, and how many players they have from last year that got decent playing time that can fill those roles?
Well, the crazy thing is, you look at when somebody says we're replacing 4 out of 5 starters, there's a lot of concern, but for them, they don't seem to have that much concern. They've got a left guard who's the only guy that's returning. They're moving him out to tackle, and Kenyon Green. They've got Luke Matthews, which we know Bruce Matthews' son. He hasn't had a ton of stuff come out about him. They thought he was going to be a little bit better, kind of getting into it. He's been there since 2018, and he's coming off an injury. He missed last year to a lower body injury, and that's kind of hard for some offensive linemen to get over that. But they've got another guy that, second guy, his name's Smart Chibuzu. He's listed at 340 pounds. Ooh. And so I think what they're trying to do is move that, Kenyon out there to tackle. They know they kind of can solidify that tackle spot and then just let them go at it on the inside. And they've got some depth, but it's going to be interesting. I think with their schedule kind of starting off the way that they do, they don't play a lot of big-name teams. They start off with Kent State and Colorado and then New Mexico before they reach Arkansas. So they've got some time to kind of work out everything and make sure they get that offensive line, ready to go.
When you look at them defensively, give us a little breakdown of what they've got coming back and where A&M's going to be on defense. I mean, we can talk about quarterbacks and O-linemen, but you got to stop somebody at the end of the day.
You do have to stop somebody, and this is an interesting thing. They've got a lot of people back on defense. They are coming back, and their recruiting class for cornerback is phenomenal. So they're going to be good on the defensive front. They are losing Buddy Johnson, a middle linebacker. He led the team in tackles at 85, had 7.5 for loss with 4 sacks. But they've got a guy named Chris Russell. He played primarily on special teams last year, and it's kind of what we've talked before of guys getting their chance on special teams. When those guys get out there. I remember Clay Matthews at USC. That's what he did. He started on special teams. He wasn't playing, in the big leagues, starting role at USC, and then he worked himself into that. And I think that Chris Russell can certainly do that. He got a lot of playing time on special teams, so that allows him to kind of get in those atmospheres, see everything that's kind of going on in the field. And so I look for him to kind of replace him at middle linebacker. But then they've got depth, at the cornerback position. Eric Young, Miles Jones, they are definitely going to be hard to beat on defense, but you're going to have to look into it. And teams have got past them last year. They only had that one loss, you get into last season.
Brett Goode with this, former Razorback, former Hawk here on the Morning Rush. Brett, Texas A&M is cherry-picked some of the top Arkansas recruits these last couple years. Should that be concerning for Sam Pittman that Texas A&M starting to build somewhat of a pipeline from Arkansas to College Station?
It's definitely concerning. I actually heard, I had a friend that was an Oklahoma guy was talking about, Sam doing the same thing over there in Oklahoma. I think coaches are doing that because they're just trying to spread the wealth. But you've also got the transfer portal, which has changed the game. So these guys they have to be active all the time of getting these people. And, this Arkansas A&M, we have always recruited well in Texas, and I think they're trying to stop it. And with A&M in the SEC, it's hurt Arkansas. And now Texas, like we talked earlier, is trying to pick up their game. So, yeah, it's going to have to be a big deal, big battle. We need to start winning this A&M matchup every time we play them. We need to be competitive in that game. That way we can show those recruits that, hey, we are for real and we can compete to allow them to come up here.
Yeah. Let's talk about the Razorbacks for a minute. Going to have an open scrimmage that the public can view again this Saturday. They've had one before. I know you've gotten a chance to see some stuff. What's your thoughts on where Arkansas is at? Obviously, the quarterback battle is where a lot of people are zeroing in right now. Your thoughts on where Arkansas is at almost halfway through spring practice?
Well, at the quarterback position, there's a lot of people that are loving KJ the way that he's kind of taken over the leadership role. And that's the first thing that you got to do is you got to be a leader to be a quarterback in the league and be consistent. But he's still getting battled. I mean, Malik Hornsby, he's no pushover. So it's going to be a long road. I think that KJ's got the upper hand on getting there because he has the experience. But with the way that our program is going, you never really know until we kind of get in there. And I think just as we improve every position and kind of, we're still seeing stuff that out of the weight room, how we're improving in that little things that we don't even see as a fan base. Well, these guys are getting coached. They're learning how to actually learn in the film room and learn how to study these people that they haven't been coached that way in many years in the past. So it's going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to watching some of them. Trying to get down there Saturday to see part of the scrimmage because it's a lot of excitement. And I think with what basketball just did and how baseball is, the state's got a lot of excitement for football moving forward. That we're going to have some fans in the stands this year more than we did last year, and kind of get this thing rolling.
Brett, when you talk about the excitement surrounding Arkansas baseball and Arkansas basketball, I wonder from your perspective as a former player, does that help Arkansas football or does that just not matter?
I think anytime you can get good publicity, it helps. I don't think that you could ever say that would be a bad thing because now you've got people, they see the excitement, they see, even when the team gets back yesterday at the airport and you see the fire truck shooting water over the plane and showing your respect for how good that they did. And people appreciate the effort. That's the biggest thing that, everybody's loved seeing us go to the Elite Eight, but we never quit. The basketball team never quit the entire time, and that's a credit to those players, to the coaches. And I think as fans, you love seeing that they're going out there and actually representing your state and your university well.
Yeah. Special teams with Arkansas. What has to happen in spring to identify some players? Obviously, the return game, kickoff coverage, special teams as a whole really sagged last year and has to come along. What do you do this time of the year to bring spring or to bring special teams along during the spring?
Special teams is really hard in spring because you're not going full speed all the time. You've got guys out there, they say they're going full speed, but it's just different. It's not game experience. You've got to get those guys playing. You've got to get more of your starters playing on special teams. You've got to just get them active in it and make people realize that it's a third of the game. Because you can see what Alabama did last year. We talked about them, returning punts for touchdowns and how much that can change a game when you can flip the field. And obviously, you want to do that. And we just got to improve at those positions. You've got to do some individual work and make sure that everybody's kind of ready to go and geared up and working as a unit because, you're taking offense and defensive guys that aren't playing together and putting them together on that particular play, and they have to perform.
A lot of times in spring, you're down about 20 players because your seniors have left, your freshmen aren't all the way in. That's changed a little bit in the last few years. This year, you got 11 seniors that came back, a handful of the freshmen that have enrolled early. Your numbers for spring football are better. I would think that would give you just the numbers to work on special teams a little bit more.
It does, and it gives you the numbers, everything that you need. And those seniors coming back are great leaders of being able to explain this. Like, hey, ball games can be changed in this moment. We've really got to make sure that we're going out there and we're doing our job. And that's what you want because everybody's got to buy into special teams. They've already bought into offense and defense because that's what they got recruited to play. But they've got to get everybody buying in on special teams. And it's a yearly thing because there's a lot of people, even if they played it last year, they don't want to play special teams. But they don't realize how important it is and how really, if you want to go to that next level, of that's kind of your ticket to get in if you're good on special teams.
All right, Brett Goode, he's with us every Wednesday. We talk football a lot of times. He's a former Razorback, Super Bowl champion with the Green Bay Packers. You can find him on the winning team at Henderson Phillips Employer Solutions. Brett, whether it's insurance, whether it's employee benefits, whether it's personal or commercial, you handle it all.
That's right. We can handle anything you need. Just like you said, from employee benefits, life insurance, home shield insurance, we can do everything, commercial, personal. I'd love to just take a look and give us an opportunity.
All right. Text or call Brett 479-651-2292. That's 651-2292, and he'll get you started with Henderson Phillips Employer Solutions. So I'll see you later today, and looking forward to our visit next week.
Sounds good. I'll see you at lunch.